going on, everybody? Hello again and welcome back to another episode of the Welch Report with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Make some noise, clap it up, get excited. Wherever you are, we are back with another jam-packed episode for you today, covering the world of sports like with boxing and the NBA specifically today. It's going to be a little bit shorter of an episode, but we still are going to have as much content as possible. We got a whole bunch to cover, like with Shakur Stevenson and it's very much dominating yet still boring performance against Harutyunyan in his dominating victory. Oh, why is he so hard to watch? What is it that is stopping him from being a fan favorite in the world of boxing? And will he ever change? On top of with the NBA, we got trades galore, like with Demar Derozen, one of the biggest of names of recent, going to the Kings. How does this make their line up for a championship? Does this make them better? Does it move the needle, or is it just a move for the sake of a move? And much more on this show. We got so much to cover. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. And please, before we even get started, leave a like on the video, comment your thoughts and opinions, subscribe to the channel, and share the show with everybody, and I mean everybody, that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together and trust and believe. Oh, we got some surprises coming down the pipe for this show as soon as next week. Ooh, I got some stuff made. I can't wait for y'all to see. It's going to be special. Do not be late on, I believe it's either this week or next week's episode when we record again. After this one, oh, I'm so excited. We are moving forward with this channel. Nearly got to 1,500 subscribers. We can bump that up to 2,000, then 10,000. Keep on knocking down the milestones, all thanks to you and your support. But again, all of that promotional stuff aside, forget all that. We care about content. Y'all care about what I got to say. We're going to talk about it right now, starting with boxing. And since we're talking about boxing, it is time to step into the ring. That is right. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this boxing segment of the show going underway, talking about Shakur Stevenson. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem.
Hey, look at this. We got some problems here.
Yes, we do.
We got some problems here.
Oh, yes, we do. JR, Jim Ross, absolutely right. We got some problems because even though we saw Shakur Stevenson dominate Harutyunyan in its performance last weekend, it still has the internet buzzing, but all for the wrong reasons, because Shakur Stevenson is still incredibly boring. My gosh, this brother, he just can't shake it. He just can't shake it. He will not make a fight entertaining for the life of him. And again, if we want to go on strictly performance, let's break down the fight a little bit before we get into the details as to the boring nature of this fight. It was from start to finish an absolute dominating display on the side of Shakur. Again, young fighter looking to eventually be able to fight Tank Davis, get the biggest fight on his resume finally set in stone. Still got to go through some work in order to get the wins to earn that spot. Potentially, this could be the next fight for him, because there's talks that Vasily Lomachenko is going to step aside, take some money, and let Shakur fight Tank first before Vasily gets there. Again, rumors. Nothing's confirmed. Just what I'm hearing through the grapevine and on social media. Check it for yourself. But the point being, with all these matches that we've seen Shakur in, everything's been set up for when will you fight Tank and how is that fight going to go. And this fight did not help, not only in his chances in beating Tank, but also his chances as a big name draw in boxing as a whole. Because he dominated the entire fight. Boxed the living daylights out of Harutyunyan. It was a more dominating performance than we saw Frank Martin put up against Harutyunyan. In fact, Harutyunyan was going to win that fight versus Frank Martin if it wasn't for that taking the knee from the body shots and the outright upping of pressure that Frank Martin put on him in the last 2 rounds of that fight. But this was an outright masterclass from Shakur from a boxing perspective. Again, he landed 170 punches to Harutyunyan's 74. 38% for Shakur, 17% for Harutyunyan. Out-jabbed him, was going to the body. 126 power punches with 63 to the body for Shakur Stevenson. Outright dominating display on all fronts. Only held Harutyunyan to 54 power punches for the entirety of the night. He was boxing the living daylights out of Harutyunyan. His defense was just as impeccable. His offensive ability and his sharpness is still there. One of the most accurate punchers in boxing. That is set in stone. And he was coming forward. Let's give credit where credit is due. As we broke down the fight. Let's break down what he did right in this fight. He did come forward. We'll give him that. When he went up against De Los Santos, he did run. Everybody was complaining about that. Took that to heart. He did come forward in this fight. He did fight right in front of Harutyunyan. But his defense was just so sublime that it made Harutyunyan look like a fool. Made him look like you couldn't touch anything. He was trying. That brother was throwing as much as he could. Trying to do everything in his power. Body into the head. Hooks and straights. Everything at his disposal. Just couldn't land anything. Of course, that masterful of a defensive savant. He is an artist when it comes to not getting hit. And when he was actually hitting him, hey, we saw the aggression. Again, we saw the punch output. We saw the accuracy. We saw with you from a just pure boxing standpoint, hey, this was phenomenal. We get it. Against somebody who, again, in Frank Martin, gave him a lot of trouble in Harutyunyan. Harutyunyan versus Shakur was no contest whatsoever. It shows the absolute discipline and actual technical ability that Shakur has at his disposal. Him being one of the best technical boxers in the world is not just a fluke. It's not just a moniker just to sell tickets. No, that's real. That's absolutely real. With all of that being said, however, the problem is, even with how dominating this display was, I still almost got put to sleep. I still almost went to sleep. It was terrible. I had family watching that fight with me, and they were absolutely bored out of their mind. Though we saw Shakur, again, throwing legitimately. It was just so incredibly boring. Why is it that Shakur is not somebody that is an exciting fighter? And we saw, again, Cameron and Mace, we saw on their show earlier today, they went at him, drilled Shakur. Because Shakur went at them, talking about, hey, y'all know what y'all talking about. And they're like, hey, brother, it ain't my fault that you going to sleep, or it ain't my fault that we going to sleep watching you fight. Nate Diaz versus Jorge Masvidal was a more exciting fight on the same night than Shakur versus Harutyunyan. It was the problem, and here's where the problem lies. Let's break this down as to what is actually the problem. It's not the fact that Shakur is just too defensive. No. We saw this with Floyd Mayweather, a phenomenal defensive fighter. Napoleon Lomachenko, a phenomenal defensive fighter. Pernell Whitaker. We have seen other great defensive fighters before that are fun to watch, exciting to watch, marketable, dominating, still incredibly technical, incredibly great, as well as can put on a show for the fans to enjoy and get people to care about. With Shakur, that's not happening. And it's because of a couple things. Number one, first thing that is the reason why, his offensive aggression just isn't what it needs to be. When it comes to somebody who can be this accurate, he is relegating himself to just being, a pot-shotting puncher. Even though we know, I've said this in the past, he's growing into his body. He's getting stronger. His body is morphing into his adult form. Because again, he still is incredibly young. Once he gets to his manhood and his real grown man strength, we should see some pop. And we very well should. Problem is that we're not. It's almost like he's relegating himself to wanting not to have pop. It's almost like he's holding himself back from having pop because he wants to be, again, as technically dominated. Even with him coming forward in this fight versus Harutyunyan, it was still, the brother just was not making this fight exciting. He just wasn't. So one thing could be that he's holding himself back. Another thing that it could be is that he's so technical that he forgets the other side of the sport, or rather has confused what the actual sweet science is. And this is the biggest thing. This is the biggest thing. This is what you need to understand. When it comes, you've heard the term the sweet science of boxing. Everybody has. A common phrase around just combat sports at all. Hit and not getting hit. Floyd Mayweather embodied that moniker to the fullest. Was, again, the best defensive fighter of the modern era. Arguably one of the best, well, not arguably, is one of the best outright of the history of boxing and can be regarded as top 3 or top 5 best defensive fighters in boxing history. No doubt about it. His living was made off of not being able to get hit. But still, when it came to the sweet science, hit and not getting hit, as much as we could say that Floyd Mayweather in his later years was pillow-fisted, didn't have any power, couldn't really punch anybody, and relied solely on his defense as a means of, that's why I'm the GOAT, because you can't touch me. Early in his career, similar to the age of Shakur, he still embodied that same sweet science style, hit and not getting hit. But he still, when it came to hitting, he made the fight. And it's because he took advantage of the openings that were available. There were still some chances that were taken on the side of Floyd. And at every available opportunity in his younger days to land shots on opponents before his hands got brittle, he landed them. Look at him versus, I believe, Arturo Gatti in that fight. Was it Arturo Gatti? Yeah. I believe it was Arturo Gatti. He fought him. Outclassed that brother, the Kingdom Come. And it was so fun to see. Made him miss and made him pay every single time. Dominating and exciting because it wasn't just, pot shots, arm punching, uppercuts, and straights. No, he was still looking to knock him out. Shakur, when you fight to win, you're not fighting to dominate. That's the problem. Other greats of the past, Bernard Whitaker, Bernard Hopkins, James Toney, all these great defensive fighters that were great at making you miss still went for the kill. Shakur, you don't go for the kill. When there are openings there, when you have consistency in dominating who you fight, when you have them read down to a science, still, you don't go for the kill. You don't try to end the night. You just try to win the night. That's the problem. Tank is a phenomenal defensive fighter, a great counterpuncher, one of the best counterpunchers in the whole of boxing. But it's not just his power that is the reason why he's able to knock people out. It's the fact that he goes and gets them, takes risk, takes opportunities. If there is a small opening, he tries to get it. Floyd Mayweather did that same thing. James Toney did that exact same thing. Shakur, when there are small openings, you still don't take advantage of it. It's the cleanest shot possible, which I understand. But even still, even though you came forward in versus Harutyunyan, even though you were aggressive and you were trying to push the pace, even though you tried to make this an exciting fight, still, there is a level of, I'm not going to get you out of there. I'm just going to win. That is frustrating to watch. You don't go and make the fight happen. When you had Harutyunyan on the back foot and you were walking him down, you didn't cut off the ring. You didn't then open up and try to now overwhelm his defense. You didn't try to get him out of there. You just tried to win the fight, not try to dominate. That is what we saw from other greats that fought similar to you. Bernard Whitaker would dominate his opponents. James Toney would dominate his opponents. These great defensive fighters would dominate. If they couldn't knock you out, they would make you look silly, put on a show while doing it. Their defense was still incredibly exciting. Now, from a technical perspective, Shakur Stevenson is great to watch. It's phenomenal to see. No, I'm not harping or downplaying what his ability is. No. True boxing fans of the sweet science understand, what Shakur's doing is beautiful. Especially in this fight. Was standing right instead of going on the back foot, was walking down forward and still having phenomenal great defense. Slipping, catching punches, changing blocks. Taking half steps back. Understanding distance down to a minute inch. It was incredible to see. But even with all of that technical ability that he showed on display, when it came to making that technical savantism into some sort of devastating offensive array, Shakur doesn't do it. On a night-to-night basis, Shakur does not do it. That's his problem. Unlike with Floyd and other great defensive fighters, when there was an opportunity to make something happen, you don't do it. You restrict yourself, and you are complacent with winning. You're not complacent with dominating, with ending the show. If you mean to tell me that a young Floyd outlanded an opponent 170-74 at the age that Shakur is right now. When he had pop, he would get him out of there. They would be knocked out. Floyd used to be, unlike Shakur, like Shakur very, very early in his career, Floyd used to be that brother would put you out. As great as a slick boxer that he was, he would put you out. He would get you out of there. He would end you. James Toney would end you. These other boxers, they would end you. Shakur doesn't look to end you. When you dominate this much and you're still just blasé, that's a you problem. This isn't like with Clackett versus Teofimo Lopez that we saw 2 weeks ago. When Teofimo Lopez, he landed nearly 500 punches. I believe 360, 380, somewhere around that range. Clackett was just incredibly tough. And so it was incredible. But now I said that it would have been great to see Teofimo Lopez get him out of there. But we saw the mix of defensive ability from Teo, slipping and bouncing off the ropes, fighting out of the corner and still being successful. We saw that as a more exciting fight than this fight. And I was saying, man, this fight needs to have a knockout. Something needs to happen. But still, you can be offensively great and still defensively responsible while looking to get somebody out of there. Shakur can't balance the two. Shakur, you are a boring fighter because you can't balance the two. You're restricting yourself, and unlike Floyd, James Toney, and the other great boxers who are defensive specialists like you don't look to get your opponent out of there after you have them outclassed. You just look to win. I'm going to keep doing the same thing I've been doing. No, you can't do that. Floyd had a reason because he could not land punches to knock people out anymore. He had a reason for why he wasn't, again, people called him boring later on in his career because he wasn't putting anybody to sleep. And he would just outbox opponents outright. Even still, that level of boxing they would put on display wasn't more fun to watch than this. Because even though he couldn't knock them out, he was still, man, that brother put on the show and made you look silly, and it was fun watching him make you look silly. It was great. With Shakur, it's not like that. It's consistent. It's a constant fight to say, Shakur, you are right there. You have him down to a science. Push the pace. Look to get him out of there. And you don't do it. Or you can't do it. One of the two's happening. But yes, it's hard to market because you're not fun to watch. Because of how you yourself fight. You yourself, to some degree, hold yourself back. You yourself, to some degree, don't make a fight happen in terms of, okay, I got you in my sights. Now it's time to end the show when the show should be ended. It's different if somebody's just tough. But if there is a legitimate opportunity that you can end the fight and you don't go to end the fight, that's just a problem. It's an incredibly hard problem. That's easy to fix. But you won't fix it because of you and how you are willing to fight. That's why we don't like watching. That's why we don't like you in the ring. That's why, as much of a savant and a technician that you are, we don't care. Because you don't make us care with how you perform in the ring. Casual fans and purists are all saying the same thing. It is a struggle to watch you fight. Because as much as you dominate your opponent, you don't look to end the show. Even when you're coming forward, you still only fight to win. You don't pop the clutch and look to fight to dominate. You don't. You don't. And because of that, it's hard for us to get behind you. It really is. Sean Porter didn't have any power to his name. At one point, I believe it was like 30-0. And like had 10 or 12 KOs to his name. No pop whatsoever in Sean Porter. Yet still, I would tune into a Sean Porter fight every chance I got. Because that brother would throw everything he could at you. Would get you, walk you down, fight his fight, and go. Just go. There was no clutch to pop because it was already gone. He was already in high gear. He was already fighting in high gear. He fought like a dog. He was called Showtime for a reason. Because that brother, even though he didn't have any pop to him, still it was a spectacle to watch him fight. because he gave it everything he had, and he made the fight. He wanted to dominate you. He wanted to overwhelm you. James Toney, that sniper that he was, all he did was spar. All day, all night, spar. Got in the ring, made you look silly, made you look foolish, and then would still go catch you and knock you out. Still going to pop you, cut you, bloody you up, go to war, even when he didn't have to, would make a fight out of a technical spectacle because he went for it. Shakur doesn't go for it. You smile, you go, ooh, ah, ooh, that was a good shot. Ooh, man, woo-hoo, making all these noises. Woo, doing all this stuff. But yet, when it comes down to actual production, you don't do anything. All you do is sit in the pocket or back away with your jab and then boom, go. Do whatever. Devin Haney is a more exciting fighter to watch than you. Because even when he's just outboxing his opponents, he makes it look exciting. He makes it look fun. There's at least a heightened level of some level of aggression. Even when he got dominated by Ryan Garcia. Regardless of how you feel about whether that fight should be no contest or not, everything surrounding Ryan Garcia and all that stuff, strictly in that fight alone, that brother kept getting up and was continually trying to make anything happen. You saw the heart on his sleeve when it came to Devin Haney. He showed it. He tried to make a fight. Shakur, you don't try to make a fight. You just try to win. There is a distinction. Trying to win, that's the sweet science. Hit and not getting hit and trying to win, or rather trying to take somebody out, that's the sweet science. Do some damage. That's the sweet science. Not just hit and not getting hit. That's just one aspect of it. The beauty in the sweet science is the fact that you don't get hit. You're able to hit back, but you're still trying to end the fight. You're still trying to dominate. You're still trying to take every opening that comes from not getting hit. Not just being comfortable with just doing the one aspect of it. You're comfortable with the sweet part, but you're not comfortable with the science. It's sweet that you're not getting hit. Cool. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Looks slick. The looks are incredible. But the science is every action has an equal and opposite reaction. What is going to be your reaction after somebody makes a mistake? After you successfully do the sweet part of not getting hit. The flashy slips and blocking and all that stuff. Or rather, let's flip that around. The science part is not getting hit, my apologies. The sweet part is then you going and catching somebody out for their mistake. Ooh, that was a sweet shot. Oh, that was strong. That's what it should be. Apologize for messing up the analogy earlier. Sweet science is the science part is not getting hit, doing all the technical stuff. The sweet part is once you do the technical stuff right, you're able to capitalize with a sweet shot that can potentially end the show, or that does damage, or that catches the attention of the crowd and your opponent. Shakur only does the science part, doesn't do the sweet stuff. There's no sweet in Shakur's game. It's just science, which again, we laud and respect. We love the talent. We just hate the production that the talent brings to the table because there's no production that is worth watching. Because it's all science, but there's no sweet to it. The other half of the equation is gone. There's nothing that gives us intrigue to want to see you anymore. Because without the sweet part, without the popping shots, without the trying to end the show, without taking advantage of now downloading your opponent, going to work, it's not fun to watch. It just isn't. Shakur should know this. You have to know this. If Floyd could do that, James Toney could do that, and other great defensive fighters of the time, they could all do that. Why can't Shakur? It's because he doesn't want to. He's relegated to, I just need to get the win, which I get it. You got to win by any means necessary. Losing is diabolical. Winning is the ultimate end goal. We completely understand. That doesn't change the fact that still when it comes to winning, how you win is very much apparent. And if it's the case that in every fight, not just fights where, hey, I have to fight safe, lest I get knocked out. But if we're talking about in fights where you should be wholeheartedly able to dominate and get him out of there, and you're still relegating yourself to strictly the boxing aspect, the science part, you don't even want to try to add the sweet part of the equation and end the show on a consistent night-to-night basis, that's a problem. That's a real problem. That's why you're not fun to watch. That's why you're boring. That's why nobody cares about you. That's why nobody cares about you and your trajectory of your career. That's why you are being clowned on Twitter and every other aspect of social media. That's why Cameron and Mace are saying, hey, yo, you are not something that needs to be talked about. That's why everybody is saying this is just terrible as a whole. We don't want to pay to watch you because you're not worth watching. Because you don't deliver on the second half of the equation. Caleb Plant delivers more on the sweet part. Because he's one of the best defensive fighters in the world. A great technician. We know this. Yes, he's lost, but still, even in the losses, we saw fight. We saw heart. We saw him still trying to make a fight. The sweet part was either he made you look foolish and it was fun while watching, or he would actively go and try to end the show. Like he did against Jarrell. There was something there of, hey, there's the sweet hands is sweet for a reason. Shakur, as much of a great technician as you are, if you fight in such a manner that we don't want to watch you win, that just is terrible. It's different if somebody else doesn't want to make a fight. Sure. There's even a better argument for if there is too much danger for you to safely be able to implement the game plan. I get that. There have been situations like that before. Does not change the fact that if this is an every night situation, that's a you problem. It's not us. It's not us that don't understand boxing. Casuals or purists. It's not us that don't understand boxing. Now it's a you problem. Because everybody's saying the same thing. But you are not fun to watch. You're not. Making them miss but not making them pay is not fun. On the whole. And some people can make it fun. Again, Nicolio Loche. I could watch him do defense against fighters all night long. Because the way he would defend against somebody, he would stick his head out and slip jabs constantly, left, right, left, right. No guard whatsoever. Made you run into the ropes. Dominate 15 rounds and just be so everything that he did. It was just, oh my gosh, I can't believe he got away from that. No punches landed in a 15-string combination. And you still saw the impact of his counter shots. Getting out sweet, pure as gold. Frustrating his opponent. That was fun to see. This was just... what Shakur does on a night-to-night basis is not necessarily the sweet science. Because the science is there, but the sweet part isn't. He's missing a half of the equation. He's not trying to go and end the show. He's not trying to go and dominate. He's simply content with winning. And if you're simply content with winning, that we will pick up on it, as we now have with Shakur. Hence why we don't want to watch you fight. We want to see, most people want to see Shakur fight Tank to see Shakur get knocked out. Because, not even because of the fact that Shakur has been touting himself as the same way Floyd touted himself when he turned to the money team. Oh, we hate to watch him because we don't like Floyd. We want to see somebody beat him. No. This ain't like Ali when everybody wanted to pay to see Ali lose because he had a big mouth. This isn't like that. We want to see Shakur lose because we don't want to see him as a top prospect in boxing. Because if he's a top prospect, no fights are going to be exciting. All this talent, but it is blasé entertainment, and we know what your actual capabilities are when it comes to, oh, this brother could end the show. He could be more aggressive. He could land 200 punches a night if he wanted to. He could add more power. He could take more risk. He could try to end the fight, end the night, make the fight a spectacular offensive display. But he doesn't. that willingness to hold himself back and be relegated just to winning, we catch on to, that's a problem. We won't pay for that. We won't. Because we won't pay for it, we just want to see you lose solely so we don't have to worry about you anymore as a top contender. More than just let's see what the best of the best can do against another best of the best. That's why, at least for me, I want to see Tank fight you, not just because, I want to see Tank go against another high caliber opponent. I want to see Tank fight you almost so that I can not have to hear about you anymore, because I'm sick of having to watch you do nothing. I'm sick of having to watch you be boring. Because y'all know me. You know what I'm about on the show. We love technical expertise. We love defense. We love the finite things that a boxer does that makes him so incredible. We love it. We appreciate all fights in all styles. But if I'm saying that I don't want to see this brother fight, that's a problem. Because it means that there is something outright that this man is willingly not doing. That is like, there's no way I can watch this man. Because you can't be this dominant and then still you are so boring. There's no way. The numbers and the performance don't add up at all. It just doesn't. I've seen people win fights with their jab alone, and that was more exciting than what I saw from Shakur Stevenson for over his last 3 fights. That's a problem. That is a outright problem. That can't be when it comes to a superstar level talent. Shakur, you are killing yourself when it comes to making your name in the boxing realm. When it comes to keeping your interest in cachet high. You are one of the best from a technical perspective in the world. You can test anybody. But we don't want to see you test anybody because you don't make it exciting. We know you won't make the fight fun. Not because, you're just so good and nobody can touch you. No, because you willingly don't want to go out and dominate. You will just go and be content with winning. And being content with winning is just doing just enough to get by. And that's not good. That's not good. If you can do just enough to get by, and that's the only thing that you do, that's terrible. That's hard. That is despicable. That's spitting on the sport that we love. You can't do that as a prime time talent. Because the more you do it, the less we'll care. The less we care, the less money you make. And the less money you make, the less stardom you have. Hence, promoters won't book you in the fights. It's going to be harder for you to get bigger fights at your disposal. You'll have, as a titleist, I believe he's the WBO champion at the moment in time of the division. Titleist, they will, or belt commissions will strip belts and make mandatories even more strict because you're not making them any money and almost try to get the belt off of you. They'll do it. They've done it before. They have done it before. Some for thee and not for me. We've seen it multiple times with other belt promotions. This is not nothing new. They will look to get it off of you if they can. That's what Shakur is going to run into more and more as we keep seeing this level of just brazen mediocrity from the standpoint of being content with just getting by. That's terrible. Horrible, and it's a major problem. But we still got more to cover on this show, like with Ryan Garcia, and specifically, if you haven't heard about what's been going on, Ryan Garcia has been banned not just from boxing for a year, but now banned from the WBC outright per Mauricio Sulaiman. What the world? Oh my gosh. This in the span of, a couple months? It's been went from the top of the mountain to all of a sudden now outright banned from boxing. Not just from the sport, but also from outright commission. This is insane. Reason being, brother went on an outright racist and hateful tirade on Spaces on Twitter X, for those who want to be technical. But still, what? That's all I can really say. It's a shock. It's a real shock to the system. Because it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Because here's the thing about what's been going on. And again, normally I keep to just in ring. I keep to just in ring talent. In-ring ability, What you do inside is what I care about. Outside is a completely different realm of possibilities that we don't need to mess with. When we're talking about strictly the sport as a whole, and the story that the sport entails. That's what we try to do here. Teach, help people learn, entertain, laugh, and get excited about what's coming down the pipe next. And debate about what's going on in the sports world outright. That's what we do on this show. However, at some point in time, there are things that we have to address outside of the sports world. This is one of them. Ryan Garcia has successfully done one of the most drastic falls from grace I've ever seen in the modern era of boxing. And it makes no sense. I don't like speculating on what's going on. But there's something more than just, oh, he's young and he's acting out. I think so. And I'm never one to say somebody's got something going on in their system. Somebody's taking something. Somebody is an addict to it. I'm never one to say that. Never one to say that. Never. You never hear me talk about those big rumors, those big what ifs, those major conspiratorial-like situations where everybody's just saying, oh yeah, this brother's out of it. Da-da-da-da-da. I never do that. But in this specific situation, I think there is something's going wrong in the life of Ryan Garcia. In the background of the fame and acclaim that he's earned in his career, something is awry. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it is substance abuse. Maybe it is the fact that he may have been or may be currently addicted to more than just alcohol, as he's admitted to. He was an addict and did drink multiple times. But this is it's concerning. It really is concerning. It's incredibly concerning to hear and watch the erosion of the reputation of what we've seen Ryan Garcia turn into. Coming back from Tank, seemingly playing the greatest mind game that we've seen in recent memory, making everybody think he was crazy and going and knocking out or almost stopping Demar, dominating him to Kingdom Come. Then from the drug and steroid accusations that we're getting all thrown about, which again we covered as well as we could on this show about that whole situation, Austrian and all. To now it's disheartening. That's what it is. Because we don't want to see somebody potentially going down a downward spiral that can end in the worst case scenario. Never want it. But that's what it's looking like. Maybe this ban is the best thing for Ryan Garcia. Maybe it's the worst thing. Because if the best thing is, away from boxing, yes, he still trains, he still keeps the regimen up, but it gives him time to get to the life right, get his life together. And yes, I know he's touted, I'm Christian, I do all this stuff, I'm against it, all these powers that be, which, hey, sounds good in theory. When we see the lifestyle this brother's doing, it's not lining up. That would not be what somebody of your ilk who says and proclaims what his faith is would not be acting in such a way, would not be going around calling black people the N-word, saying I'm black, saying I hate Muslims, saying I hate white people, saying I hate everybody, hate every religion, going in and being incredibly disrespectful to anybody that was, especially in that spaces, that came to just go, hey, brother, you are messing up. This is a bigger issue, seemingly, than just being, oh, he's young. This is a problem that Ryan Garcia is potentially causing for himself. I don't know what other influences are around him. So again, I'm not saying what the cause is. I'm simply saying that whatever the cause is that's going with Ryan Garcia, that's making all this stuff happening around him, he has been the main guy that's been feeding into it. And because of that, we don't want something tragic potentially happening. We don't want somebody, especially with a budding young career like Ryan Garcia, who was just at the top of the world. We don't want to see somebody with so much promise. We don't see anybody. But in this case scenario, somebody who has the world at his fingertips. One of the biggest stars in boxing. One of the baby faces of boxing. The successor to Oscar De La Hoya. And what we saw with Canelo when he was coming in as the handsome brother from Mexico, who is the pride of his country, Well, he's from America, but with Mexican heritage in terms of Ryan Garcia. The pride of his country coming in and being, hey, this is the next great man from our people. Phenomenal. Everybody wanted to be him. Women loved him. Men supported him. Everybody cared about him. Everybody was like, hey, this is great. A young budding star. That's what he was. Respected. Beloved. Was a mogul. Now he is turned into this almost seems like deranged, manic state. And it's a real concern for the career of Ryan Garcia, let alone the life of Ryan Garcia as a whole. Again, I'm not speculating what the cause is. I'm not speculating why the cause is. I'm simply stating, since this is now so all-encompassing in the life of Ryan Garcia, something has to be said in terms of not trying to speculate what he is, what's going on, what's wrong or what's right, saying that there needs to be a change of something, anything. Because at this point in time, he's going to dig himself into a hole, potentially literally, and we don't want that. It's too risky right now for Ryan Garcia to still be acting the way that he's acting. And as a black man specifically, I can say it was incredibly disheartening, disrespectful, appalled, and almost laughable to see what Ryan Garcia was saying during that Twitter space. And again, if you want to find it, you can go on YouTube right now. They got clips of it posted galore. Or go on X and Twitter outright. Everybody's got that saved and reposted. But he's apologized. A bunch of people ain't accepted it. And it's because it hurts. It hurts when somebody goes that belligerently disrespectful. Not just to black people, again, me, but to everybody. Because it's almost like this wasn't Ryan Garcia that we saw not even a year ago. Wasn't even a year ago. You could say stuff was quirky, sure. Whatever. But before, up until the Tank fight, everything seemed okay. He's a big star. He believes in himself. He's brash, sure, but still, it's young, but promise, and he'll mature. And now it seems like he got himself caught up in stuff that is making him lose his mind. And if we, as a people, really want to see this get better, the calling him out, number one, absolutely true. But then afterwards, don't hate. Look to help. Look to support. Not support what he's doing, but support him getting help. Whatever the help may be. Whatever the help needs to be. Because at this point in time, we're not looking at just a star boxer that is on a downward spiral. We're looking at a situation where we've seen this times before. When this isn't just a career downward trend. This is a potential life-altering trajectory that could end with an end to life outright. I've seen it countless times, both in sports, in boxing, and just in life in general. Some of you may have experienced it. Some of you may have experienced other people who have gone through that. Know people personally that have gone through that. Just a seemingly a losing of yourself. Inexplicably, all of a sudden. Sometimes you never really know what the cause of it was because it's too late. And we don't want that to be the case for Ryan Garcia. But this is incredibly dangerous and incredibly critical that this man gets whatever support and help that he needs. Put himself surrounded by people that actually care about what he is, not a bunch of yes men that just support what he does. Like we saw on that Twitter Spaces. Some black buddy going on about, he can say whatever the word he wants. All this, no, shut up. The fact that you black and you saying that is ridiculous on your part. Stupid and ignorant. Absolutely ridiculous. Trying to bring up points that don't remotely relate to whatever the word we're talking about now. Using the guise of, you got people who are, per the Twitter Spaces quotes, eating babies. going out and doing all this belligerent stuff, messing with children, doing all of this terrible, horrible stuff, all these powers that be. I think somebody said something about Epstein in that tirade on X as well. Get all these terrible people out there. Y'all worried about this. Y'all are worried about the wrong thing. Somebody saying, well, you got black people killing black people every day. Y'all worried about the wrong thing. No, we're worried about the right thing. We are worried about the right thing. You can't use a different problem in this situation as context to, oh, y'all don't need to worry about what Ryan Garcia's got going on. No, we do. We absolutely do. And you as a support group should be a lot more concerned about all this stuff rather than fueling the fire of, yeah, I gave him the pass. Yeah, sure, he can say it. Yeah, sure, he's one of us when good and well he isn't. Now, I don't say that in a hateful way. I'm saying you know this. And you know somebody's being belligerently stupid, ignorant, out of their mind, and utterly despicable, killing their own reputation and career, and you still back him because he's got money. That's the worst thing you can do. That's so bad. That's so horrible. That's so terrible. That is so terrible that you are that the people around Ryan Garcia right now are yes men. From what I can understand. Father said he wants to get him to get some help. Parents and family have said that they denounced everything that he was saying. So from that perspective, if it ain't the family, then it's the boxing family that's around him. The people the entourage per se. If it ain't the immediate family that's feeding into this, which clearly it's not based on what they put out. It's the entourage. And we saw this with Mike Tyson. Let's not forget. We saw this with Mike Tyson, though it was different circumstances of somebody else in the story of. In fact, here's a little lesson for you. When it came to Mike Tyson, at the prime of his career, trained with Custom Auto, trained with Teddy Atlas, and there was a third coach as well. But had a great core entourage of coaches and people that cared about him, promoters and managers, all of them cared about their brother. Took him all the way up to the title. Kevin Rooney, that was the other one. Kevin Rooney. Took him all the way to the title. But Custom Auto died before he won the championship and became the youngest heavyweight champion in history. Went on to become undisputed. Went on to become lineal by being Michael Spinks. You saw that. Once he hit the height of his powers, Don King swooped in and replaced meticulously every single person that was around Mike Tyson that supported him and cared about him with Don King's hand-picked entourage, which helped ruin everything that Mike Tyson was at that point in time, turning him into the animal that you know him as the ruthless killer. Yes, he was always ruthless in the ring, but if you watch what he was when Custom Auto, Kevin Rooney, and Teddy Atlas was around him versus what he turned into, after they all got replaced, completely different being, completely different fighter, both in fighting style, not nearly as technical, and in personality, a lot more volatile. Because nobody was able to help him stay in check, especially when he didn't have any family of his own to be able to rely on at that point in time. That is what we saw with Mike Tyson, on top of Don King stealing all of his money. Crying shame, which is why he had to fight at that age, like 35, 36, 37, well past his prime. Well past it. When he lost to McBride, I think in his last fight. But the whole reason why he was fighting was only because of money. That was it. Lost everything because of Don King. An outside source got his hands on a star prospect and ruined it. Don King, that bum of a Negro, went and messed up everything. Ryan Garcia right now, while it may not be that it is an outside source putting their entourage onto you, that keeps you, that replaces what was good company. Now it's yourself putting your own entourage together, from what I can understand. And the people that you surrounded yourself with, not somebody else, but the people that you surrounded yourself with, are fueling a fire that is burning the entire house down. A house that you created. both of wood and glass. And the wood is burning, and the glass lets us see inside the burning building. And my gosh, there was no infrastructure. Because this brother hired people, hired builders that didn't know what the word they were doing, just using it for money. That's the analogy that I see with Ryan Garcia. People are using it for money. People are using it for status. People are fueling this diabolical tirade just because they want to stay close to the pile, close to the fire, close to where all the money's coming from. And nobody else is helping him stay or say this is a problem. And when somebody calls him out on it, the entourage comes in and says, no, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's good. He's good. In fact, he's black. See how stupid that sounds? But that's what they're doing. We've seen this before. Because we've seen it before. Don't want history repeating itself. Ryan Garcia's got to get himself a new form of people that care about him, that will call him out, that he can trust to listen to, and adapt his lifestyle. Because right now, all this stuff about how I'm fighting the higher powers that be and whatever the case may be, I'm saving children and all this stuff, that is well and good. And we love and respect if that's where your heart is. Absolutely. But that does not cover up that your actions as of right now are not that. They're not. They're of you completely disrespecting every religion, every race, saying the N-word belligerently to other black people. Like y'all, like we should know better. And then going on and continuing a diatribe of rants and words that are incredibly disrespectful, disheartening, self-destructive, and outright belligerently stupid. And all your people around you are saying, go ahead, defending, trying to say he has a right to say this. And if you want to go out the First Amendment, freedom of speech, I believe it's the First Amendment. Yes, you have the right to say that. But now the consequences that come into play, we're seeing what happens. You also got a right to get consequence. You also got a right to get punished for it. Hence, banned from boxing, banned from the WBC. Any involvement with the WBC outright. No title opportunities, no interim title opportunities, not even anybody affiliated with the WBC. They don't want you in their organization. Potentially, that would mean that if this never moves, that would mean that he potentially could never be undisputed if he wanted to go that route. Never hold the belt that Ali held, that Sugar Ray Leonard held, that marvelous Marvin Hagler held, that Tommy Hearns held, Roberto Duran. We can keep going down the list of other great Hall of Famers that have held that vaunted championship. He may never be one of them because of that exact thing that he's doing right now. Losing his mind. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say that like in the context of other people when they are just trying to, yeah, he's just crazy. No. Legitimately, he might be losing his mind. And if he doesn't get the people to help reel him in, it could be a situation where it's too little too late. By the time somebody can actually get to him, something dire may happen. And I don't want that to happen at all. Because more than just boxing, I care about the person. Really do. And this, you can put boxing behind you. He's set for life. He could never box again and be set for the rest of his life. I'm so happy. For anybody that can get to that level of status, any athlete that can get to that level of status and comfortability and outright security, we love. But now, if it gets to a point where it is dire for you to continue, there's a point in time we have to look at the bigger picture. And if it is time to go, might be time to go. I'm not saying Ryan Garcia can't turn it around. I'm not saying Ryan Garcia can't go and make this, fix all of this. It's going to take some work. But what I am saying is, if he still continues down this path, we're going to be saying more than just, oh, this man's crazy. It's going to be a lot more dire. And I hope we never get to that point. Hope and pray that we never get to that point. Also, as we continue in the show, getting out of the boxing realm and into the world of the NBA, we have another signing. As Demar Derozen has officially signed with the Sacramento Kings, when everybody thought he was going to go to LA, potentially now he's going to Sacramento, Sacktown. Like the bean, ladies and gentlemen, that's what's going on. And they now have a big three of De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis and Demar Derozen. I believe it's 3 years, I think $75 million. I could be wrong, but either way, there's a situation where you got him for multiple years, got him for decent money, and now you are on your last. Hopefully, this is the piece that you were looking for to get yourself at a title opportunity, because we have been saying that the Kings are coming. The Kings are on the way. The Kings are moving briskly in their ability to be title contenders. They have the talent. They have the roster. They got one of the best big men outright in the NBA in Domantas Sabonis, who is a double-double machine. 20 and 10. I believe he had, 67 games last season when he was 20 and 10? Like, straight ridiculous. In a situation where he's one of the best big men, rebounding and scoring, and consistent big men in the league. De'Aaron Fox, a savant of a speedster and a ball handler, great leader for that squad. Couple that with Malik Monk, who that tandem has been incredible. The chemistry that him and De'Aaron Fox have together is it's so fun to watch. Oh gosh, it's so exciting to watch. It's a top backcourt in the NBA in my estimate. Not saying it's the top backcourt. I'm saying it's one of the best that the NBA has to offer from an outright scoring perspective. And on the whole, what the offense has is they got something special. Now you have an offense built on every level of scoring. You got your outside shooting. You got your mid-range game with DeMar DeRozan. Elite mid-range game, mind you, as well as the floater game of De'Aaron Fox and his ability to stop on dime. Then you also have the post game and the inside work of Domantas Sabonis. Hey, you should be unstoppable on every single front. Free throws could be a struggle with this team, but outside of that, offensively, they have every zone covered in the NBA. Everywhere is hot. Because everywhere you have a player that is elite at a position. You can get DeMar DeRozan, give you 15 on strictly mid-range jumpers and turnaround. De'Aaron Fox can get to the hole and shoot from three. Malik Monk can shoot from three and get to the hole. Domantas Sabonis, outright dog when it comes to the paint. Second chance opportunities, getting the other team in foul trouble, dominating down low. They have everything on top of the rest of that bench depth. I'm not saying it's great, but I am saying we're saying what it's done for them in the past. Now, with an added superstar, you can mix up the lineups. You can have some people come off the bench that used to be starting that can help bolster that bench depth and give you still some more offensive output on every lineup that you want to use. Phenomenal. The only issue with this is defense. Now, when it comes to DeMar DeRozan on the Kings, we know that brother ain't a great defender. We know that the Kings needed a rim protector. Let's not forget. They were one of the worst rim protecting teams in the NBA. Outside of Domantas Sabonis, they really didn't have a great big man that could stop people. They didn't. They played small and played fast. And that's what they're known for, which is great for them. But still, in having a lack of rim protecting presence, it's something that routinely can kill them. It's something that routinely will kill them. Say what you want about the Lakers right now. Anthony Davis going up against that squad would be dire. Especially with how dominant that he was last season. If they faced off against the let's say Joel Embiid, dominate. Nikola Jokic would dominate them. Giannis would dominate them. Every big man in the league would be able to have a field day with the Sacramento Kings because of their lack of actual rim protection. Now, they needed it, but they traded it away for upping the offensive flow that this team can have in store. So does this move the needle for the Kings? And it does, but I don't think it's about much. Because what you gained offensively, you sacrificed even more defensively. Since you did, now you're going to have to be clicking on all fronts. Similar situation that we saw with the Nets when they had Kyrie, KD, and James Harden. Not comparing these three to those three. Not comparing DeRozan, Fox, and Sabonis to Kyrie, KD, and Harden. Not doing that. What I'm doing is understanding that while that team was able to put up 182 a night on average when they were all on the floor together, they also gave up 150. You see what I'm saying? Do you see the trade-off? If you don't play to the caliber that your offense can play at the peak of its caliber, you will get run out the building. If one person has a bad night, that could spell dire straits for the rest of the squad. And that team in the Nets was even more depleted than this team to a bench depth scenario. But even still, the depth that the Kings have isn't great. Again, maybe it's just me. I don't see it as a great saving grace for this Kings organization. I never have. That starting rotation has been dominant, phenomenal. We knew De'Aaron Fox was a killer. We know Malik Monk turned into a killer playing with De'Aaron Fox, especially over these past couple years. Saw some sparks in LA. Then when he got to Sacramento, shot him up to Kingdom Come. Sabonis has been a killer. We get it. And DeMar DeRozan has been one of the best clutch players in the NBA. It's a routine. We get what they are. What they aren't, however, is something that concerns me. Because even though you got clutch players, if you got to be in a clutch situation every single night, that's not good either. The benefit of being clutch is that if it does get close, I can go and close the show. But if it's close every single time I'm out on the floor, it's a 50-50 shot, and what history has said, most likely it ain't falling your way. It's not. So it's a trade that I see can work. That it can be something that, oh my gosh, this could be something special, but it could also be something that backfires incredibly quickly. And all of a sudden, they're looking to, just as soon as they get DeMar, they're looking to get him out of there in a heartbeat. Because that brother is not a great three-point shooter at all, not a great defender at all, and he's a pure scorer through and through. And if you need stops and you can't get stops, now Derozan's more of a liability than an asset, especially if he can't get the shot rolling on his end of the floor. I'm not saying he can't be a decent playmaker. Decent. Not great. But again, we know the playmaking responsibilities are going to be to De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk, most likely. But even still, what this roster has, high ceiling, but a very fragile floor. And that floor, when they try to jump to touch the ceiling, can break on them at a moment's notice. Or if they don't touch it and they land, can shatter right through. Fall into the abyss of mediocrity. That's what could happen to the Kings. If they reach their heights, this can be something, so fun to watch. But don't be surprised if we see this team not reach the potential that what the lineup looks like it can be. It never actually amounts to that level of special talent and outright cohesion as a whole. Especially when you got somebody who's a mid-range assassin, but when it comes to three-point shooting, they then become a potential liability. This could be good. It could be good. Don't be surprised if it's bad, though. Not be surprised if it's bad at all. And also, as we end off the show, with the Los Angeles Lakers, this is where we have some concerns. Free agency is halfway or nearly getting close to being done. Yet, they have missed out on every single big name that they wanted to go after. Every single one. Jeremy Grant's still on the table from what I can understand. Missed out on DeMar DeRozan. Missed out on Klay Thompson. Haven't been able to sign anybody of real note. Not one move has been made. And it brings to question what's going on in the front office of Los Angeles. Specifically with Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss. Both of them. This has been a problem. This was supposed to be when LeBron got there. That this is supposed to be Tinseltown for the entirety of the NBA. We can pull any big name star to get here, to play with the best player of our generation, arguably the greatest of all time. The best playmaker that we have of our generation. An unselfish superstar who won a championship in 2020. This is supposed to be the Mecca. Was going to be the Magic Johnson who was going to be running the show. All of a sudden, he dips right after he gets there. Now, Rob Pelinka takes over, and nothing has really transpired. Again, they won a championship. I understand. But beyond that, every move that seems to have been made has been incredibly bad. And I think we're starting to see the Lakers turn into what the Knicks were before all of a sudden they got their act together. Again, they still have James Dolan, which, terrible, horrible. But with that being said, when it comes to Rob Pelinka and Jeanie Buss, there's a real responsibility of ownership. We saw LeBron go and say on his, as they're training for Team USA with India to go to the Olympics, talking about the free agency debacle that's been going on with the squad. It's been, hey, we just couldn't get it done. Stuff got on the table. Stuff didn't happen. It is what it is. But all that led to you couldn't get Demar, you couldn't get Clay, you couldn't get Paul George. Don't know if you're going to get Jeremy Grant. You lost out on Jonas Valanciunas. Every active piece that would have been helpful for that squad, they missed out on. Easiest should have been Jonas Valanciunas, yet they still couldn't pull him. Jeremy Grant may still be on the table, but we don't know by the time this video may air. Something may change. Who knows? Point still stands. As ownership, you seem to be running a ship of lies, or rather a ship of outright debauchery. Because nothing is working. Nothing you're doing. You're not making any quality moves that have not. I will say, you re-signed all the people that came to play when you made the run at the conference finals. You did one thing. You kept Hachimura. You kept Austin Reeves. You kept Justin Hayes. You kept a lot of the players that made this team great. But you balanced that out by getting Darby Hand to play with them in the first place. Now you go and you get J.J. Redick, who's unproven. We can see what happens. I hope that he's good. But if he's bad, another bad coaching move. When you could have had Ty Lue. But no, lost out on him. Could have had Monty Williams. Lost out on him. Could have let Darvin Ham go mid-season. Get Griffin, who coached the Bucks to 30-13 at the start of the year. Didn't get him. Every single piece that would have been, hey, it makes sense to make this move. You didn't make. Held out. They got to a point that even Dan Hurley, you paid him $70 million to come play for LA. He takes $50 million for 5 years to go stay at UConn. Something's bigger than just, oh, I want legacy in terms of what Dan Hurley and UConn and the other moves that have been made. There's a bigger, deeper issue that the Lakers are experiencing. They are having an organizational shift of mediocrity from being the place to be. They are now turning into the old Knicks. Nobody cares about the Lakers because nobody wants to play with the Lakers because they are a decrepit franchise. Potentially filled with people that don't know what they're doing. I don't say that to run on Jeanie Buss or run on Rob Pelinka. I'm going off the track record of what they've done. They have not made a move. They have not made any. The majority of their decisions have been bad, not good. The majority of the moves that have been made on the roster have not been great. Have not made good sense when it comes to an ownership perspective. And you see what other people are doing around the league, like Sam Presti, like even the Knicks and James Dolan. We've seen stuff still get better. Stuff get built. We've seen stuff, there's been a plan. Seems to be no plan with Los Angeles outside of we're going to ride LeBron and AD up until the wheels fall off. That's been it. That's not good. The Lakers are in a dire situation where there's a potential that they're going to fall victim to being nothing. LeBron signed 2 years, $104 million. Was willing to take a pay cut. Yes, he was. He was willing to take a pay cut for if they could get another big superstar, like with DeMar DeRozan, like with Klay Thompson, like with Jonas Valanciunas. Not a big superstar, but still a good player. Potentially with Jeremy Grant. Even if they had gotten him, maybe we would have taken a pay cut. Paul George would have taken a pay cut. Missed out on all of them. Hence why you see that 2 year, $104 million deal. Hence why we see LeBron saying that may be my last contract I signed in the NBA. There is a level of you are at the ability to compete. Yet still, the moves you make don't put yourself in the right position. That's on ownership. Some of the stuff, yes, it was on LeBron. Like the Russell Westbrook move, that was something that LeBron did want. That was a mistake. But behind that, everything else was a problem. And the fact that you didn't move him as soon as you could was a problem. Now with this team that I have routinely said, at their best, they can give any team a run for their money. If they can give the Nuggets if they can get swept by the Nuggets, but only have 2 games out of all 8 games that they played be actual blowouts, everything else is within 5 and 3 points, depending on how they lost, or game winners. They can compete with anybody in the East. They can compete with Boston. They can compete with the Bucks. They can compete with the Sixers. They can compete with anybody. If they gave that Nugget squad constant trouble, constant fight, never going away, when that team was clearly being coached and built better. They have the capacity to play up to anybody in the league. I still stand by that today. And if the coaching is right with J.J. Redick, everybody may eat their own words and they be like, oh shoot, this squad is actually good. And Darvin Ham, that bum of a coach, the bald-headed buffoon, was actually the reason why nothing was actually working in LA. But if it still shows true that you needed moves and moves did not get made and the roster is currently constructed, committing to your young talent, committing to Hachimura, committing to Austin Reeves, Jackson Hayes, and then not moving Gabe Vincent and other players that, hey, they ain't helping us, and we see that this team failed, ultimately it's going to fall on the organization as a whole. It's going to fall on Genie and Rob Pelinka, because you ruined the last vestiges of LeBron James' prime by not being able to lock down the deal. Magic Johnson might have been able to get Paul George here, simply because it was Magic Johnson. Simply because as Magic Johnson, he was the biggest reason why all of a sudden the buzz got around for LeBron getting to LA, and then what could potentially happen. Because if Magic Johnson was running the show, probably was going to get moved. Stuff was going to get done. Now, yes, they won a championship, but since then, constant overhaul, constant flow, constant changes, no consistency, no real level of we have something to build on. We're just going to ride our 2 cornerstones with whatever. That's what it seems like they've done. Rob Pelinka and Jeanie Buss. Being exposed is not great owners at all. It's placeholders playing a role that they don't really need to play. And if that is the case, it'll be found out at the end of the season. It definitely will be. But with all that being said, this has been another episode of the Welch Report with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show. Again, please leave a like on the video, comment, thoughts, and opinions on whatever we have talked about today. And please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building up this empire together. And again, we cover boxing and the NBA and the majority of sports happenings in the world of the U.S. and beyond. Don't go anywhere. Keep it locked. Go back and see other episodes, and we'll be right here next week to cover everything that happens in the sports world. Peace and love. We are out of here.